Today's episode of Fun with Cars / lawnmowers, we are going to reseal the two hydraulic pumps. We got a trick for getting all the air out of the system so it doesn't have neutral like we had. Alright, so we got the whole tank and the hoses off. There's this hose that goes to the filter assembly on the bottom of the tank, and then there's two, they got yellow bands on them that feed the motors at each side. We just took that whole assembly out. It's over here, just so it's out of the way, although it's dripping oil all over the place, but that's what we're trying to fix. So we're taking off these two lines. These must be the feed lines to the filters. We're going to take these lines off. We got the hose clamps loose, and then that will take the lines out of the hydro pumps, and then we'll be able to unbolt the hydro pumps and get it. You're walking through oil, get the hydro pumps out, and then we'll start taking the hydro pumps apart one by one. Alright, here's the current situation. We took off all of the lines that go to the hydro motors, took off the control rod, took off the control rod here. We're going to take off this one here. There's bolts underneath, and there's the pulley that goes on the bottom of the hydro motor that's got to come out. It has an Allen key. Well, there's a keyway. It slides up there, and there's two set screws that go to tighten this to the bottom to keep it in place. When we took the belt off, this one just came off, so obviously this one was loose. We are going to take both those bottom pulleys off. We're going to unbolt the motor from underneath and pull the motor out, and then we'll get it on our workbench, also known as a recycling bin. Here's the look of the hydro gear out of the machine. There are two carriage bolts holding this in place, one on the front, one on the back of each one. Now if you notice this shaft, this is the pulley that that drives the hydro motor, or that the motor drives, whatever. This is the keyway that goes in there, and you can see the mark on there where right there you can see where the keyway sets. So this sets in that keyway like this underneath, and then I'll show you what the pulley looks like. The pulley slides up the shaft with the keyway. As you can see, the keyway goes, right in that slot. This slides on till essentially that shaft and this pulley are flush, and then you tighten down the two set screws. That's what tightens it to the hydraulic motor. So anyways, that's what we got so far. We're going to take apart the top of this and change the seals out. Tell us all about it. Oh yeah? You like working on these Scags? It's a Tiger cat. Yeah, it's annoying. Alright, we got the hydro motor cleaned off. We used some brake clean here to clean this off. And basically we gotta get a clean surface area to disassemble this. We're going to change the pump body gasket, the O-rings. There's an output seal on the bottom here. Just be careful of this keyway. In fact, I'm going to take this keyway out and we'll put it with the pulley so that we don't lose it, because apparently hardware in this thing just aren't good friends. So we're going to get that keyway by the pulley where it is, and then we'll put that all together when we're done. Alright, we're going to take this top cover off first. Might be a little hard to see, but we kind of moved a little bit just in case it starts raining. Alright, well that looks like important stuff, so there looks like a seal here. I don't know if you can see that. Seal here, there's part of the gear here. This actually looks like the pump gear itself. So, well, we'll put this like this. That's how it goes. Clean this all out before I put it together. Set the parts here, and then we're going to take these 4 bolts out, which look larger. So the first, right in there. The first size for that centerpiece was a 5mm, and this one is a 6. These 4 bolts should get the pump apart. The main body seal, I think, is what was leaking on this hydro gear, so we're going to change that, obviously. But we got to be careful because I've never had one of these apart before. Ooh. Now. Alright, well, that's an issue. Alright, it's tough to see, but we found our leak. That gasket is split. So, that main body gasket was where our leak is. Right there, you can see it right in the corner. So, I believe that's where our leak is. We're going to change this main body gasket and the other gaskets on here that came in the kit, put it back together, and go from there. Alright, so I took a Phillips screw, I screwed it into the meat of this output shaft seal, and then I put a screw in there. Well, I had a screw in there, and then we're going to try prying it out like this, because that seal is tapped in there. Oh, there we go. We got a new seal to put in here. So I'll take this all the way out. Ooh, yeah, we'll clean that out and put the new seal in, which is right here. Now, the one thing you got to be careful of is that the keyway, that's kind of a machine surface. See this here by my finger? There's a keyway here. We don't want that to, right. There was some rust at the top of this shaft, so I got some emery cloth with some oil on there, and I'm just polishing that shaft where the rust is so that it doesn't cut our new seal when we put it on. Don't want to bite too much, just want it to be clean so it the seal goes in there. Alright, we'll clean it all off and pop the new seal in. Alright, so I'm cleaning the other surface here, making sure that's smooth, no burrs, and clean. It's pretty clean right now, but I'm going to go over it with, you know, some, I don't know, maybe wet dry sandpaper, like 2000 grit, just to kind of polish out any imperfections. I do want to mention here, there was a check ball. Be very careful. That check ball fell out on us. We got to put that back in. We found it. No big deal. Alright, we're going to start bolting it together. Alright, so the new gasket is in there. We lined up so all the pins are right, but that wobble plate is a spring plate. It's under pressure, so it was a two-man job. I held this together, compressing the springs a little bit, and then we ran these bolts in just snug. They're just, I mean, I can still tighten this one. But we're going to torque them here, 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 in a cross pattern. You can watch me do that with my impact driver. Alright, we're going to go, that's torqued, that's torqued, that's torqued, torqued. I know this impact driver is not super strong, and we took it off with that, so I'm confident. Now, we got some things here to go over. So, we got the check ball to put in. Check ball goes right there, I believe, right? And then, we have this little piece that has to go on. Now, there's a flat flange on this, right? Right there. So it goes on that flat flange. I'm going to clean this off quick. So any dirt that I got on there will be gone. And then I'm going to get the seal in this housing, and then we'll put this back on. So we got all the bolts tight. We got that seal in with the snap ring here. Everything works with the forward and back like it should. The seal is all in place. We're gonna get this set in the machine, bolt it down, put the pulley on, and then we'll do the other one. So after using the bleed procedure outlined, I found it in a few different websites and videos of opening the valve 2 turns on each of the hydro pumps, starting the engine, running it forward and backwards with the wheels off the ground, then closing them and doing it over again. I could not get the wheels to move. There was air trapped in the hydro pumps, which they said we should have filled all the way up. I don't know if it's even possible to fill all the way up before putting them back in. I would say the last step when resealing them, once you have the inner pistons installed, before you install the top cover, I would put it in a bench vise, grab by the shaft, the output shaft or input shaft I guess it would be, filling up the oil level as high as you can get it to go, putting this top part of the pump on, bolting that in, and then the top cover. But we didn't do that, so I do have a trick that I had to use to get this top cover, to get the air out of the pumps, because I had neutral forward and reverse, and the bleed procedure didn't work. So this is how I did it, and it should work for you. So I jacked up the back of the machine, wheels off the ground. I took this pump cover off. Be careful, there's a check ball there that goes down. There's a little tiny spring that's in there. You pull this cover off. You can do it in the machine, typically, at least in this machine. You got to be, it's a little tight, but it's doable. I was able to get both of them off. Take this off, jack up the rear wheels, make sure the wheels are off the ground, take that cover off. You know, be careful. I would take the check ball out and just with a magnet and leave it on the side, and then rotate the wheels by hand, and you will see air bubbling out of the port where the check ball is. I rotated the wheel forward and back until I stopped seeing any air come out. Then I put these pumps back together, the top cover with the check ball and the spring and everything, and then I finally had movement forward and back, and I was able to get the rest of the air out of the system. But that was something we ran into, putting new seals in these, that was unexpected, and it took a while to get it out. The normal bleed procedure did not work. Thanks for what it looks like after the bleed seal. Nice and dry in there, and the oil level is staying where it should be. So finally, after bleeding out all of the air, we finally have forward and reverse motion, and it works as it should. Forward and back, and it has all the power. There's no more air in the system once we bled it out and check the fluid level. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.